Throughout history, every culture has carried wisdom about how our surroundings shape our destiny. The spaces we live in are not just walls and furniture, they are reflections of our spirit, energy, and faith. Today, we'll uncover ancient secrets about what to place in your home to invite good fortune, peace, and abundance into your life. The power of symbols and sacred objects has been recognized across civilizations for thousands of years. Long before the language of psychology, design, or even modern spirituality emerged, human beings have always sought to connect the physical with the invisible, the seen with the unseen, and the home has often been treated as a sacred space where this bridge is most tangible. When we speak of symbols, we are not merely talking about decorative pieces or cultural artifacts. We are referring to carriers of meaning, energy, and intention. A symbol is powerful not because of the material it is made of, but because of the collective or personal significance it holds. In the context of a home, symbols act as reminders of divine truths, channels of spiritual energy, and anchors of focus for the human mind and spirit. In ancient societies, every object placed in a household was intentional. A statue, a scroll, a carving, a plant, or even the direction of an entryway was considered an invitation to certain energies. The Egyptians placed scarabs as symbols of rebirth and protection. The Chinese used mirrors and coins to invite wealth and deflect negativity. In India, sacred objects such as lamps, bells, and idols were placed in households to bring blessings and align the home with cosmic order. Indigenous tribes carved totems, wore amulets, and placed feathers or stones inside their dwellings as markers of ancestral presence and divine favor. These examples show that symbols were not random. They were chosen because they represented universal principles that transcend geography and culture. The human mind thrives on symbolism. Even in modern psychology, symbols are seen as keys to the subconscious. A symbol bypasses logic and touches something deeper within us, something that resonates with our inner knowing. That is why placing a sacred object in a home is not only about aesthetics, it is about shaping the consciousness of everyone who lives within those walls. For example, a cross or rosary placed in a Christian home is more than wood or beads. It is a declaration of faith, a reminder of sacrifice, and an anchor for prayer. Similarly, the Star of David, a mandala, a yin-yang, or an ankh all carry vibrations that extend beyond their physical presence. They influence how we feel, how we think, and how we interact with one another. In many traditions, sacred objects were also believed to hold actual energy. A stone from a holy river, a relic from a saint, or a talisman consecrated in ritual was thought to radiate protective or abundant energy. Whether one interprets this scientifically or spiritually, the outcome is the same objects can shift the atmosphere of a space. Even in a purely psychological sense, when someone sees a sacred object that reminds them of safety, hope, or possibility, their nervous system relaxes, their faith strengthens, and their decisions are guided with more clarity. This internal shift, in turn, influences outcomes in the external world, creating what many would call good fortune. Symbols also teach us that meaning is not inherent in the material world. It is something we assign and believe in. A simple stone picked up during a walk could become sacred if you associate it with a powerful prayer, a turning point in life, or a blessing you received. Likewise, a piece of jewelry passed down from a grandmother may hold not just sentimental value, but also spiritual weight, acting as a bridge between generations. In this way, symbols carry the stories of those who came before us, weaving ancestral memory into the very fabric of the household. To place such objects in visible parts of the home is to surround oneself with living reminders of strength, resilience, and continuity. The placement of sacred objects is just as important as the objects themselves. In ancient practices, positioning was guided by cosmic principles. For instance, many cultures emphasized the east as the direction of the rising sun, a source of renewal and divine connection. Sacred objects facing east were believed to channel fresh beginnings and spiritual awakening. Water features were often placed strategically to represent flow and abundance. Fire, through candles or lamps, was positioned to embody transformation, protection, and enlightenment. These practices show that symbols are not only about the object, but also about their relationship to the space, the elements, and the energy flow. One of the most powerful aspects of symbols in the home is their ability to create intentionality. Every time you walk past a symbol that has meaning to you, you are reminded of your values, your hopes, and your commitments. A home without symbols may be beautiful, but may lack soul. A home with carefully chosen sacred objects, however, tells a story, evokes a sense of reverence, and nurtures the invisible dimensions of life. The way we curate our environment reflects the way we curate our inner world. If chaos dominates the home, it often mirrors chaos within. If order, sacredness, and meaningful symbols dominate the home, they invite a sense of centeredness and calm into the mind and heart. Symbols also serve as bridges between the physical and the divine. When people kneel before an altar, gaze at an icon, or light a candle, they are not worshiping the material itself. They are using it as a gateway to something greater. The material becomes a medium of focus, helping the mind and spirit tune into divine realities that are otherwise intangible. In a world full of distractions, sacred objects give us focal points that anchor us to the unseen realm. They remind us that our existence is not just about survival, but about connection to a higher order of life. Furthermore, symbols have a communal power. When guests enter a home and see sacred objects, they instantly understand something about the household's values and beliefs. They feel the energy that those symbols radiate, whether it is protection, abundance, faith, or peace. This unspoken communication shapes relationships, sets boundaries, and establishes the spiritual atmosphere of the home. A family that places a Bible, a Quran, or a Torah in their living room is declaring to every visitor that their household is aligned with divine principles. A family that displays ancestral symbols is declaring that they honor those who came before them. These statements create a spiritual framework that extends beyond the private realm into every interaction. Sacred objects also help cultivate mindfulness. Every time you see them, you are prompted to pause, reflect, and realign. In a busy life filled with noise and demands, such reminders are crucial. A candle can remind you to breathe. A prayer bead can remind you to pray. A crystal can remind you to focus. A framed scripture can remind you of a promise. These small moments of realignment add up, shaping a lifestyle rooted in awareness, gratitude, and intention. Over time, they do not just decorate your home, they transform the way you live. Even in modern times, when technology dominates and minimalism often strips spaces of symbolic meaning, people instinctively return to symbols during times of crisis, celebration, or transition. Weddings, funerals, birthdays, and religious holidays all involve symbols, rings, candles, flowers, and sacred texts. This demonstrates that no matter how advanced we become, we cannot escape the human need for symbolic anchors. Bringing these anchors into the daily environment of the home ensures that our spiritual connection is not reserved for special occasions, but is woven into everyday life. The power of symbols and sacred objects also lies in their ability to transmit faith across generations. A child who grows up seeing their parents light candles, pray before an altar, or honor a sacred symbol learns, without words, that life is more than material. They absorb the rituals, the meanings, and the reverence. When they inherit the same objects, they inherit not just material possessions, but a spiritual legacy. In this sense, sacred objects are not passive. They are active transmitters of culture, belief, and resilience. Aligning your space with spiritual energy is not just about decoration or arrangement. It is about creating a living environment that resonates with harmony, flow, and balance. The home is more than a shelter. It is a container of energy that directly influences the people within it. Every wall, every corner, every object carries a vibration, and when those vibrations are aligned with spiritual energy, they nurture the body, mind, and soul. This is why ancient traditions place great emphasis on how a home was built, where it was located, and what objects were brought into it. They understood that energy was not a vague concept, but a real force that could be cultivated, directed, and balanced. Energy is everywhere, and the spaces we inhabit absorb and reflect it constantly. Just as a person radiates energy when they walk into a room, a home radiates energy when someone steps inside. You can sense it immediately. A space can feel heavy, tense, or chaotic, or it can feel peaceful, uplifting, and vibrant. This is not accidental. It is a reflection of the alignment or misalignment of the spiritual energy within that space. Aligning your home with spiritual energy is about tuning it like a musical instrument, ensuring every part resonates with harmony instead of discord. In traditions such as Feng Shui, the alignment of a home is treated as a science of energy flow. The direction of doors, the placement of furniture, and the balance of elements like wood, water, fire, metal, and earth are all designed to encourage qi, or life force, to circulate freely. A blocked pathway, a cluttered room, or a poorly positioned object is believed to interrupt this flow, creating stagnation that manifests as conflict, financial strain, or illness. Conversely, an open, balanced arrangement invites vitality, prosperity, and peace, even if one does not fully subscribe to these beliefs. The psychological impact of flow and openness in a space is undeniable. A clutter-free, well-arranged home reduces stress, increases focus, and creates a sense of clarity, which are themselves forms of good fortune. Spiritual alignment in the home also involves connecting with the natural world. Ancient people lived closer to nature and saw their homes as extensions of the earth. They brought elements of the natural world inside to ensure that they remained in harmony with the larger cycles of creation. Plants symbolized life and renewal. Stones embodied stability. Water features represented abundance. And fire brought warmth and transformation. Even today, when we place a plant on a windowsill, light a candle in the evening, or decorate with natural wood, we are instinctively reestablishing that bond with nature. This bond calms the nervous system, restores a sense of belonging, and aligns us with spiritual rhythms that transcend modern distractions. Another layer of aligning your space with spiritual energy lies in the intention you carry when shaping your home. Intention is invisible yet potent, and it lingers in the spaces we create. A house where prayers are spoken regularly carries a different vibration than one where constant arguments erupt. A home where gratitude is expressed and joy is celebrated will feel different from one dominated by resentment or fear. The walls, the furniture, and even the air seem to absorb and release these energies. That is why it is essential not only to decorate with care, but also to infuse the home with practices that uplift its atmosphere. Simple actions like playing uplifting music, Burning incense, meditating in the morning, or expressing blessings aloud can shift the energy of a space dramatically. Colors also play a powerful role in aligning space with spiritual energy. In many traditions, colors are understood to carry vibrations that affect the mood and energy of a home. Warm tones like red and orange can evoke vitality, passion, and courage, while cool tones like blue and green encourage peace, healing, and renewal. Gold and yellow tones are associated with abundance and enlightenment, while white represents purity and clarity. When these colors are used intentionally in different rooms, they create a tapestry of energies that support the activities of those spaces. For example, calming tones in a bedroom promote rest, while vibrant tones in a living room encourage connection and vitality. This understanding allows the home to become not just functional, but energetically attuned to the needs of its inhabitants. The placement of sacred or symbolic objects within the home is another way to align it with spiritual energy. An altar in a quiet corner, a scripture framed on the wall, a family heirloom placed in a central location. These objects act as spiritual anchors, radiating meaning and intention throughout the space. They remind the mind and spirit of higher truths and set the tone for the energy in that environment. When aligned properly, they create focal points that center the home around values of faith, gratitude, and abundance. Without such anchors, a home may feel beautiful but empty, lacking a sense of spiritual orientation. Clutter is one of the greatest disruptors of spiritual alignment in a home. Every object carries energy, and when objects accumulate without purpose, they create stagnation. This stagnation is felt as heaviness, procrastination, or even emotional fatigue. Ancient wisdom consistently emphasized the importance of clearing and purifying spaces. Whether it was through smoke rituals, water cleansing, or simple decluttering, people understood that space must be open to allow new blessings to flow in. In modern times, this means regularly letting go of unused or broken items, keeping spaces organized, and ensuring that the home reflects who you are becoming rather than who you used to be. The act of clearing is itself a spiritual practice, making room for growth, opportunities, and abundance. Sound is another dimension of aligning space with spiritual energy. Chanting, singing, ringing bells, or playing soft music has been used in every tradition to uplift energy. Sound vibrations penetrate walls, furniture, and even the bodies of those present, resetting the atmosphere and elevating the frequency of a space. This is why people feel a shift when they walk into a temple, a church, or a sacred site filled with chanting or music. The same principle applies in the home. A family that gathers to pray or sing together infuses their living space with harmony that lingers long after the moment passes. Lighting also shapes the energy of a space profoundly. Darkness can conceal and contract, while light expands and reveals. Natural light has always been associated with divine presence, clarity, and renewal. Homes that welcome sunlight often feel more alive, while dim or closed-off spaces may feel heavy. Candles, lamps, or even carefully placed lighting fixtures can be used to shift the energy of a room, creating warmth, inspiration, or serenity depending on the intention. Many ancient traditions considered fire a purifier, and lighting a simple candle was a way to invite transformation and protection into the home. The arrangement of space also reflects inner alignment. When your home feels balanced, you often feel more centered. This is because the outer environment is constantly interacting with your inner world. A balanced home layout can support mental clarity, emotional peace, and spiritual growth. A chaotic or disorganized home often reflects or contributes to internal imbalance. By aligning the arrangement of space to reflect order, openness, and intention, you create an environment that naturally supports your journey toward harmony and fulfillment. An often overlooked aspect of spiritual alignment is scent. Smell is one of the most direct pathways to memory and emotion, and it has been used in spiritual practices for centuries. Incense, essential oils, flowers, and herbs carry vibrations that can purify, uplift, or calm the energy of a space. Burning sage, frankincense, or sandalwood is not just a ritual. It is a way to cleanse negative energy and create an atmosphere where peace and abundance can thrive. Even something as simple as keeping fresh flowers in a vase can shift the energy of a room, reminding the spirit of beauty and renewal. The alignment of space with spiritual energy also involves acknowledging the unseen. Many traditions teach that our homes are not just occupied by humans, but also influenced by spiritual presences, whether ancestors, angels, or simply the lingering energy of those who came before us. Honoring this unseen dimension with respect, prayer, or symbolic offerings is a way to acknowledge that the home is part of a greater spiritual ecosystem. This awareness brings humility, gratitude, and reverence into the space, qualities that elevate its energy beyond the ordinary. The role of gratitude in attracting abundance is one of the most profound spiritual truths that has been echoed across time, culture, and tradition. Gratitude is more than saying thank you. It is a posture of the heart, a lens through which we interpret life, and a vibration that shapes the energy we release into the world. When gratitude fills a home, it becomes a magnet for abundance because it aligns human consciousness with the frequency of receiving, appreciation, and multiplication. Abundance is not simply material wealth. It is peace of mind, love in relationships, opportunities that unfold, health that sustains, and a spirit that remains resilient regardless of circumstances. Gratitude is the invisible bridge that connects what we have with what we long for, because it acknowledges the present blessings while opening the door for future ones. Gratitude shifts perception. Where others see lack, the grateful see provision. Where others see obstacles, the grateful see opportunities to grow. This shift in perception creates a completely different energetic reality. A person who wakes up each morning and begins their day with thankfulness sends out a vibration of abundance into the atmosphere. They signal to themselves and to the universe that they are not in deficit, but in overflow. This mindset not only brings inner peace, but also influences external outcomes. Because gratitude attracts more of what is appreciated. The law of resonance teaches that like attracts like, and when gratitude resonates from a person or a household, abundance resonates back. In ancient traditions, gratitude was woven into daily rituals. Before meals, families gave thanks for the food. Before planting seeds, farmers gave thanks to the earth. Before beginning a journey, travelers expressed gratitude for protection. Gratitude was not reserved for special occasions, but was a daily practice that kept people aligned with the rhythms of life. These practices were not just symbolic, they carried real energetic power. By consistently expressing gratitude, people cultivated a consciousness of abundance, even in times of scarcity. This consciousness allowed them to endure challenges, celebrate small victories, and remain open to blessings that would otherwise go unnoticed. Gratitude also acts as a purifier of energy. A home filled with complaints, bitterness, or constant dissatisfaction will feel heavy, draining, and stagnant. On the other hand, a home where gratitude is practiced feels light, peaceful, and welcoming. The words spoken in gratitude carry vibrations that shift the atmosphere. Thankfulness spoken over a meal transforms it into nourishment that satisfies more deeply. Gratitude expressed between family members strengthens bonds, heals wounds, and creates a foundation of love. Even silent gratitude, moments of inward acknowledgement and appreciation, transforms the internal environment of a person, which in turn transforms the external environment of their space. Psychologically, gratitude rewires the brain. Studies show that consistent gratitude practice increases serotonin and dopamine, the neurotransmitters responsible for feelings of joy and contentment. It lowers stress levels, reduces anxiety, and strengthens resilience. Spiritually, this means that gratitude not only attracts abundance, but also equips the mind and heart to receive it with joy rather than fear or doubt. Many people miss out on abundance, not because it is unavailable, but because they are unable to recognize and embrace it when it arrives. Gratitude sharpens vision, allowing us to see opportunities, blessings, and possibilities that others overlook. Gratitude also multiplies what we value. When you are grateful for a relationship, it deepens. When you are grateful for your health, you take better care of your body. When you are grateful for your resources, you manage them wisely, and they stretch further. Gratitude creates stewardship, and stewardship creates multiplication. This principle is seen throughout spiritual teachings. To those who are faithful with little, more is entrusted. Gratitude is the seed of faithfulness, the acknowledgement that even what seems small is worthy of appreciation. By valuing what we have, we create a fertile ground where more can grow. In many cultures, gratitude was not only personal but communal. Festivals of thanksgiving were celebrated after harvests, victories, or deliverance from danger. These gatherings were not just cultural events. They were spiritual practices that aligned entire communities with abundance. Dancing, singing, offering food, and honoring the divine were expressions of collective gratitude that strengthened social bonds and elevated the energy of the people. When gratitude is shared collectively in a home or community, it multiplies its power because it creates a unified vibration of abundance. Gratitude is also a weapon against fear and lack. Fear focuses on what is missing. Gratitude focuses on what is present. Fear contracts energy. Gratitude expands it. Fear blocks abundance. Gratitude unlocks it. When challenges arise, gratitude becomes a shield that protects the mind from despair and keeps the spirit anchored in hope. It does not deny the reality of hardship, but chooses to focus on the blessings that still remain within it. This focus changes the emotional state, which in turn changes the choices made, and those choices often lead to solutions, growth, and eventual breakthroughs. The practice of gratitude can be cultivated through small daily rituals that gradually transform the home into a sanctuary of abundance. Writing down 3 things to be grateful for each morning, expressing thanks at the dinner table, or even mentally acknowledging blessings before sleep are simple yet powerful ways to realign with abundance. Gratitude journals, vision boards with thankful affirmations, or creating a gratitude corner in the home where family members place notes of appreciation can serve as physical reminders of this practice. These rituals may seem small, but they build momentum, gradually creating an environment where abundance feels natural and constant. Gratitude also creates openness. When someone is grateful, they radiate a sense of joy that draws people and opportunities toward them. People naturally want to connect with those who appreciate life because gratitude makes others feel seen and valued. This openness extends beyond relationships into the realm of ideas, creativity, and inspiration. A grateful mind is not preoccupied with what is lacking, so it has space to dream, to innovate, and to see solutions. This is why many breakthroughs often come to those who, instead of complaining about obstacles, express gratitude for the lessons within them. Gratitude aligns the mind with possibility, and possibility is the soil in which abundance grows. Spiritually, gratitude is also an act of humility. It acknowledges that blessings are not earned by effort alone, but are gifts from a higher source. This humility keeps pride at bay and positions the heart to receive more. A prideful heart resists abundance because it believes it is self-sufficient, but a grateful heart attracts abundance because it recognizes the flow of divine provision. This flow is like a river constantly moving, and gratitude ensures we remain aligned with its current rather than fighting against it. Another dimension of gratitude is its connection to forgiveness. When we practice gratitude, it becomes easier to release resentment because we focus more on what we have than on what we lost. This release heals the heart, and a healed heart is fertile ground for abundance. Resentment blocks blessings because it keeps energy trapped in the past, but gratitude frees energy to flow into the present and future. In a household, when gratitude becomes a shared practice, conflicts resolve faster, wounds heal sooner, and harmony is restored more easily. Even in times of scarcity, gratitude creates resilience. History is filled with stories of communities who endured hardship yet remained grateful, and in their gratitude found the strength to rebuild. Gratitude does not erase struggle, but it transforms the way we move through it. It gives us eyes to see hidden blessings, like the support of loved ones, the gift of life itself, or the wisdom gained through trial. This perspective transforms struggle into soil from which new forms of abundance eventually grow. The role of gratitude in attracting abundance is also connected to the power of spoken words. Words of gratitude release energy into the atmosphere. Saying thank you aloud to others, to yourself, or to the divine creates ripples that return multiplied. When spoken consistently, words of gratitude can reprogram the atmosphere of a home, replacing negativity with hope and lack with plenty. Just as complaining breeds more reasons to complain, gratitude breeds more reasons to give thanks. Creating a home that mirrors inner harmony is an ancient principle that transcends culture, geography, and time. The home is not only a shelter, but also a reflection of the inner state of those who dwell within it. The spaces we design, the objects we choose, the order or disorder we allow, all become external expressions of our inner landscape. When the inner world is calm, grateful, and aligned, it often manifests as a home that feels inviting, peaceful, and balanced. When the inner world is anxious, chaotic, or burdened, it is not uncommon to find that the physical environment reflects the same disarray. This interconnection reveals a deep truth. The home and the inner self are not separate, but mirror each other constantly. To create a home that mirrors inner harmony is to consciously design a space that both reflects and reinforces peace, balance, and wholeness. A harmonious home begins with intention. Every culture that valued sacred living emphasized that intention is what transforms a house into a sanctuary. Without intention, a home is simply